The time now is 13 minutes past 10. 51552. That's the text. Lots of people, of course, planning holidays abroad this summer to escape for a week or two, maybe of sun and sea and shenanigans. And if you're into the shenanigans part of the holiday, there is a resort in Lanzarote that offers frisky holidaymakers a place to essentially let it all hang out. Spice Lanzarote is the first and only all-inclusive lifestyle resort in Europe. That's a fancy way of saying it's a nudist resort for swingers. Is that fair to say, Julian?
Yeah, hi Ryan.
Hi.
We basically call it a lifestyle resort because it's a much more broader description than when you refer to swingers. Certainly in the UK, people have this sort of notion of, I don't know, rotund Tories with rosy cheeks playing some parlour game where they'll put keys in a hat, or else they'll think of some dingy, scary basement where all kinds of sort of deprived people lurk. And in reality, it's something much wider than that. The people that come to Spice, they're hard to categorise, but if you would put them into categories, you would say there's a category that is the hardcore swingers, the people that basically spend a lot of their time sharing their partners in open relationships and having sex with different people. But we also have a lot of naturists, people who just like to be naked and be in a sexually charged atmosphere. And then also we have a lot of curious couples. These are obviously people that might have discussed it, just think they want a holiday that's different, would like to see if that kind of activity is going to work for them. And so it's a very broad range of people you get there.
Sure. So it's a mix of I presume, all sorts of social backgrounds and ethnicity, a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, exactly. People from all walks of life, from all over the world, come there.
Okay, so what are the rules, Julian? What are the can do, can't do?
The rules are, basically it's a sexually liberated environment, so there are very few rules. Fundamentally, the only rule is that it's got to be legal, it's consenting adults, and anything that happens there is very respectful. And to that regard, it's actually a more respectful environment. Women will say all the time it's a much less threatening environment than perhaps being in a normal pub or a nightclub where there's drunk guys, etc., because for a start it's couples only. They will be there, and as I say, what works for them is, to act out their sexual fantasies, and that, like anybody's fantasies, is a huge range. So, you're in a sexually charged atmosphere where anything can go. There's rules around dress, but that's strictly limited to people must be dressed in the reception areas for obvious reasons, because that's the connection to outside, and in the restaurant, because at the end of the day, no matter how sexually liberated you are, whilst you're eating your dinner, you probably don't want to see sexual activity.
That's a very wise.
So that's about it. And in the main pool as well.
And the main pool, okay. So is the hotel purely booked up for people attending Spice, or is it a mixed hotel?
No, it's purely for adult couples that want to be in a sexually liberated environment.
And is it 24/7 that people can go to the pool and have intercourse or do whatever they want to do, or are there hours between which you can operate?
No, they can't. It's no different to any holiday in that respect. But and you can't in the pool itself, only around the pool. We actually have Europe's biggest outdoor jacuzzi where anything goes. But the jacuzzi, the bars, no, they're 24/7. If people are there and they want to, party, then it's there for them to be able to do that.
Okay, and then when the sun goes down, what does the kind of the nighttime nocturnal activities kick in then?
Yeah, the way it works is pretty much like any other normal resort, albeit that the entertainment might be slightly different. The reality is, in Lanzarote, we've got all year-round sunshine. It's very hot. People, in the lifestyle are no different. They want to relax. They read a book. They want to get a tan. For sure, there will be sexual activity during the day. There are day beds. There are areas where people go, and some people are exhibitionists, so they'll be more sexually active in the busier places. But the reality is they get dressed up for dinner, and then, they head to the club and playrooms, and there's all kinds of activities. The resort is the same as any other resort in that we have sports, a spa, pools, jacuzzis, restaurants, bars. difference is, playrooms, there's areas where, a lot of sexual activity and probably more what people imagine as the sort of normal swinger activity, i.e. lots of couples together. And, we have phone parties and the entertainment team, it's the same as any other resort, albeit that the entertainment's slightly different. And probably the entertainment team are a bit better looking, to be fair.
Okay, tell us about the playroom then.
Well, the playroom is an anything goes area, so they're an extension of the nightclub and the bar areas. They have large beds, and people might go in there as couples. They might go in there as a group. It's basically the most sexually liberated area, I guess, of the resort.
Can you get a day pass to come in and hang out for a few hours and do what you want to do, or is it very much an all-in deal?
No, you can't. We don't have day passes for first-time people that are on the island that want to have an experience. We do a 24-hour pass, so they can come and get the full experience from the lovely restaurant, the pools, the jacuzzis, and basically then have dinner and take in the clubs, etc. So we do that, but people can't just sort of come in and pay an admittance fee and stay for a couple of hours.
So for 24-hour overnight with all the added extras, shall we say, how much will that set you back?
You're looking around €340 for a couple in a standard suite. That's all inclusive.
Okay, a lot of Irish people do visit Lanzarote, as it happens, and so maybe you could explain to us what part of the place we're talking about that you guys are based in.
We're based in Porto del Carmen, which is traditionally has been a really popular place with Irish people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it gets about 800,000-900,000 visitors a year just in that area. It's full of Irish bars and pubs, and I think like 25% of the tourists that visit there are Irish.
So it's a popular spot. People will know when they hear that. And how is business, Julian?
Business is really good. I mean, the sector's picked up massively.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's not the stigma that there was attached to it. As with anything, I think people are much more broader-minded. If you're, in a relationship and you want to, as a couple, make decisions to do something regardless of what it is, where, if it's, as I say, legal and it's consensual and respectful, then I don't think anyone else has got a problem with that. And you can look at, gay relationships and gay marriage as the transition that's made to be acceptable, I believe rightly so. Mm-hmm. But also if you look 5 years ago, if someone said that they'd met a partner or gone on a date with someone that they met on a dating site, people would never say that. It was like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
People would be going, what's wrong with them? Now I meet 80-year-olds out in a restaurant and they've met on a dating site. So what it was extreme is relatively normal. I think in the UK it's slightly behind the rest of Europe in that people are a bit more cautious in the sense of they probably don't discuss it. Whereas if you travel around Germany, Scandinavia, the rest of mainland Europe, people are openly saying, "Oh, I'm in an open relationship. We go to clubs, we party with other couples, etc., etc." Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a lot more. It's an honest thing. It's not going to work for everybody, but if as a couple you discuss it and you say, "Okay, maybe I would like that," it might be the man, it might be the woman say, "You know what? I've got this fantasy." A woman might say, I'm interested in the idea of having a closer relationship or a sexual activity with another woman. Yeah. Now, more often than not, a man's going to say, it's funny you say that because
I've thought about that once.
I'd quite like to see two women.
Thought about that about 2 months ago. There, just a fleeting moment, but now that you mention
exactly.
it.
So it's a lot more open, and I think it's much more honest, and it doesn't work for everybody. But the reality is, relationships break down usually through dishonesty, infidelity, cheating, and I think that if the lifestyle works for you, it works for your relationship because there's nothing to be deceitful about, really.
I wonder what happened societally that brought us to a point where it is absolutely unfrowned upon. It doesn't concern people that this goes on. Was there a point that people just said, "Ah, sure, look, whatever gets it through the night"?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. As I say, you know, why not? It's not for everybody, but you know, I mean, and there's different levels. Obviously, there are people in the lifestyle who come to Spice, you know, 4 or 5 times a year. Well, they might just like to be in that environment. They might not be sexually active with anybody they meet there, you know, for the 3-4 times they visit. You know, then they meet couples. We have couples that meet there and then arrange their holidays again the next year. You know, I don't see that there's anything wrong with it. As I say, with, you know, amongst, you know, adult couples, it's a very safe, it's a very secure environment. It's very relaxed, private. And, you know, people just like it. A lot of couples like to, you know, go on holiday and only be around other adult couples.
Do you do it yourself?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Why not? I don't. Why not? It sounds great.
Well, because there's strict rules in the sense of, you know, it's a very professionally run resort with a team there, and you know, none of the team, although they're there to help everyone else live out their fantasies. You know, it's a professional environment.
You're a facilitator.
We're not allowed to live out our own.
Yeah, you're not allowed to taste the soup, as it were.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, at the end of the day, if you're a publican, do you go to a pub on your night off? You know, probably not.
Yeah, well, indeed, or you might go to a different pub. Julian, thank you for your time this morning. It's nice to talk to you.
Okay, well, if people want to check it out,
yep.
spicelifestyle.com, and they can look at the resort for themselves.
Very much so. Okay, thanks for your time. Good to talk to you. Bye-bye, Julian.
Bye-bye.
That's spicelifestyle.com is the site